In this presentation, I would like to discuss why we need religious freedom, what it is, and why it's important to us. So first off, let's talk about what religious freedom is. Religious freedom is the freedom to live one's religion or belief in a legal, political, and social environment that is tolerant, respectful, and accommodating of diverse beliefs. Now, this is saying that it is the ability for people of various beliefs, backgrounds, and ideas to live peaceably together and worship how they see fit within certain bounds, and we'll talk about these bounds. But first, let's talk about what it is as a constitutional right. The First Amendment states that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. So the parts that I want to focus on in this is that it states that the government will not establish a national church or religion, and secondly, it will allow citizens to have the ability to exercise their beliefs freely or without undue or wrongful persecution, the free exercise thereof, and not taking away their freedom of speech or their ability to come together. Let's talk about the two different aspects of religious freedom that I would like to discuss. The first is the right to believe. Without belief, there would be no religion in the first place, and so there would be no religious freedom. So religious freedom, according to Robert P. George, based on his article entitled Religious Freedom and Why It Matters, where Robert P. George states that religious freedom means that both as individuals and in the community, we have the right to ponder life's origins, meaning, and purpose, to explore the deepest questions about human nature, dignity, and destiny, to decide what is to be believed and not to be believed, and within the limits of justice for all, to comply with what we conscientiously judge to be our religious obligations, and to do so openly, peacefully, and without fear. And this idea goes back to the original, what is religious freedom, but I love how he describes here that it is our opportunity and also our purpose to look for the purpose in life and to live what we come to believe is our purpose in life here, and to be able to do that without feeling prosecuted or persecuted and without being afraid of how we choose to openly live our religion. So we have the right to believe, and then along with the belief comes the natural desire to exercise or act upon the things that we believe. Dallin H. Oaks has said that the free exercise of religion obviously involves both the right to choose religious beliefs and affiliations and the right to exercise or practice those beliefs. But in a nation with citizens of many different religious beliefs, the right of some to act upon their religious principles must be qualified by the government's responsibility to protect the health and safety of all. Otherwise, for example, the government could not protect its citizens, person, or property from neighbors whose intentions include taking human life or stealing on circumstances rationalized on the basis of their religious beliefs. And this goes to the idea of saying that there has to be some bounds set within religious freedom, otherwise it would lead to various difficulties as stated here. That anybody can say that they believe a certain thing, whether it be that they believe in murder or that they believe that this certain unconstitutional or unethical act will be able to be performed solely based on their religion. And so there has to be some bounds in religious freedom, saying that if there is any harm that will be done to others in physical or other ways, that needs to be not allowed, as it can be very dangerous in various circumstances. In James Madison, he has stated that religion then of every man must be left to conviction and conscience of every man to exercise it as these may dictate. And that goes back to the idea of the importance of allowing people who believe to act upon their beliefs, as it is a natural consequence or a natural act following the desire to believe. When one really desires to believe something, one wants to follow those beliefs and act upon it. And it is the right, or should be the right, of every person to be able to follow how their heart desires, or their soul freedom, as Roger Williams has stated. Unfortunately, 75% of the world's people, which would be more than 5 billion human beings, live in countries um, whose governments significantly restrict this fundamental right. And so that's why it is so important for us to get involved and to be involved in the idea of promoting religious freedom. So what are some things that we can do individually to help us promote and support and maintain religious freedom here? The first and foremost is to get informed, to understand what religious freedom is, how we have been given religious freedom, what rights have we been given that deal with religious freedom, and what are the problems that go on in the world that have to do with religious freedom. And as we get informed, we'll want to become more involved as we want to extend our beliefs or exercise our beliefs that we have. So we can get involved in the community by involving in charities, whether it be a religious charity or not. We can share our beliefs through those things. We can get involved in the school realm to support others in their opportunity to be educated, which will then help them be able to have more room and opportunity to find their own religious freedom. We can get involved in the political realm, make sure that we support and sustain religious freedom in that aspect of this country's functions. Another thing that we can do to get involved is to get to know people of other faiths. It's very important for interreligious work that people of different faiths and different churches work together to support one another in their beliefs and in their actions. It's important for people in the community to understand what other people are doing so that we can support others and help provide a more solid community for people to grow up and live in. And another way that we can get involved with supporting and maintaining religious freedom is using social media, being civil online and stating our beliefs in a way that can uplift and encourage and support the idea of religious freedom so that we can believe how we desire to believe and that others can believe how they desire to believe or not to believe, and that we can support one another in our actions. And like I said, it's important to get involved, to be involved in the community, and to support one another, to help each other stay true to our religious convictions, and to make it a safe place, as there is so many people that are so easily apt to racism or prejudice. And it's so important that we remember that we are all somebody's children, and that it's important for us to support one another, whether or not we believe the same things. So thank you for taking the time to listen to my reasoning for why we need religious freedom.